Democratic chair, I wanted something that I felt fit the chair, and these really polished finishes that I do on my traditional Windsor chairs uh, are certainly not traditional, but they're the finish that I like and I do on them. And you know, I'll end up sometimes with 5 coats of paint on the chair, 5 thin coats, and then rub that thing down to where it's just slick as can be. And then I'll put 3 and maybe 4 coats of whatever top coat that I'm using on top of it. Uh, I'm using mostly shellac now, but I used to use just penetrating oils, and I would, or I'd mix up my own penetrating oil with linseed oil and some varnish and some thinner. Uh, but on this chair, I wanted something that kind of fit the finish of the chair a little better. And so the first thing I did was I went out in the yard and gathered up some walnuts and got the husk, yeah, and just stuck them in a pot on the stove and boiled them for a while. And so is that what you did, Ailey, or did you order some? Looks like you had a walnut there.
Yeah, so I knew there had to be tons of walnut trees around here, but I never paid attention. So I went for a walk, and down on the road there's a walnut tree, and these things were totally worm-eaten. They looked like they'd been sitting there for 2 years, but I decided to pick them up. I stuck them on the wood stove and boiled it for whenever the wood stove happened to be on for a few days. And Ian, if you look at the bottom there, you'll see some photos of what the chair looked like when I stained it. I don't know if the stain was that dark enough, but we got a photo. You can tell me. Look on the right-hand side there. You see that post, and I sanded through it or spoke shaped through the dye a little bit. Mm-hmm. So that was the difference in color I was getting.
Yeah, mine's quite a bit darker than that. Yeah.
So now this thing has been reduced. I've made a walnut dye reduction. It used to have that much water in it or liquid in it, and now it's down to about there.
Wow.
So this should be a whole lot darker than what I was using. I put about a pound of walnuts in there, and I put that much water in it, and it boiled down, and then I added that much water again and boiled it down. So that's you can do the math from there, I guess. I don't know.
And you can also buy the crystals from Van Dyke, walnut crystals, and I don't know what that is, but I know you can buy it. I've never used it or anything. But I definitely put on a glove because this stuff, your hand will be walnut for quite a number of days if you don't. It's a good dye, been used for a long time.
It's still not getting me a whole, well, there we go. Look at that.
Yeah.
Do you soak this thing or?
No, I mean, I do it about like what you're doing there. Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty dark. That's pretty dark right there. Yeah.
That's
good.
Okay, great. And so what's the idea behind this dyeing? Did you already mention that?
Well, no, it's when I painted the first chair, and just with 1 coat and rubbed it through, the pine seat especially just had this kind of not so pleasant yellow showing through, and I thought, well, that doesn't look good. The oak looked okay, but the pine didn't. So I dyed the seat and with walnut, and I liked what I got. And I liked it so much that I started just dyeing the rest of the chair. And just that dark underneath that light paint, I think is a real pretty contrast. And it gets great reviews from people that see it. They love that finish.
I got some on one of my spoons here, so I should pay more attention. There we go. Cut that out. All right, so do we have to sit here and watch it dry for an hour, or what do we do now?
No, you can paint right on that.
Okay.
With it even wet. Yeah.
So I'm going to do this slate again that we were using earlier. What other colors have you put on this chair?
I've tried a few others. The only one, I've tried bayberry and Lexington green, and I didn't care for the dark colors. I mean, I like the dark colors better on my other chairs when I'm putting that really highly polished finish on it. But where I'm rubbing through, I don't think the dark colors look good. And I found that I like the lighter colors better. So I did one with light cream, and amazing. I mean, I never thought I'd like a chair painted white. And I actually saw Seth Weisenecker paint one years ago, and he had put some dark underneath it, and he had painted it white and rubbed it through, and all. It was a lot of draw knife work, and rubbed it through on the edges, and I was surprised how much I liked that. So, but all the other ones lately have been this this slate with that dark underneath it. So, yeah, that's looking good. That paint's looking really good. You got it mixed just right.
This is about what we'd put on that chair. So I'd say it's somewhere between 10 and 13 seconds on that viscosity cup, but I just eyeballed it. But it's feeling like that. After a while, you get to know how much drag to expect off the brush and whatever. And when you're painting into a corner like this, you got to be real careful. Like I've got a drool under here, and it's real easy to roll paint off of it. So I'm gonna get this brush a little drier up here, and then I'll come back to that. I got a hanger on here. This is that undercarriage that blew up, or didn't blow up. It was all undersized back when we were at Roy's assembling this chair.
Came in handy, didn't it?
Yeah, I'm so glad I did all that.
Yeah.
And it seems like you need to be real careful with this paint job because you're not going to cover it up. So this is the last coat it's going to get. And so you want it fairly uniform. Is that right?
Yeah, that is right. And you can get it choppy. And, you know, when I'm painting my traditional Windsors, I'm not paying a bit of attention to that first coat. I'm just throwing it on. But on this one, you have to pay attention to it. And those areas where you start and stop that you were talking about earlier are real important.
So really, you can keep working this paint until you with a dry brush or fairly dry brush until you get it all smoothed out. So at any rate, that looks pretty good, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Okay.
So so you let it dry 3 hours, and then you're ready to rub it down. And like, you know, I'll usually take some of that wore out sandpaper again and just knock off the rough parts and make sure the edges are going to rub through a little bit.